What's the most believable conspiracy theory you've come across? Planned obsolescence conspiracy. Companies intentionally making things to break in order to increase profits. Vladimir Putin set up those apartment building bombings to restart the war in Chechnya and solidify his hold on power. The explosives used only come from one factory and it's under the direct control of the SFB. Didn't a former FSB agent come forward about this and spoke out, but was poison greater than? Modern art is a money laundering scheme. I'm a millionaire and I pay an artist $25,000 to make some piece of garbage art piece. Then I get my friend's friend to appraise the art at $2.5 million. Then I donate the art to the museum where the critics make fun of the peons who just don't get it. Now I'm a philanthropist who can get a $2.50 mill tax write-off. Everyone gets kickbacks. We get crap art. Edit. I suppose scam would be more appropriate than money laundering. I guess it wouldn't have to be dirty money or anything. I more mean a way for the rich to get richer though deliberately inflated values. Art is controlled by a small minority of the elites. Not a conspiracy. Thomas Kincaid got super rich making art for the common man, which is now worthless because it was common. Raid Shadow Legends does not exist. The commercials were created to push people to buy YouTube Red in order to avoid those commercials on every single video you play. U-Block Origin. Epstein's suicide conspiracy is so believable we are 85 comments in and nobody has thought to mention it yet because it is accepted as truth. There is no conspiracy, we all know he was murdered. Nobody has enough sympathy for dead pedophile to want any justice. Suicide is for the history books simply so we don't look like a society that condoned the murder of a man without trial. Gary Webb was murdered. He was the reporter who helped blow the lid off of the CIA flooding the US with crack cocaine as part of the Iran-Contra scandal. He committed suicide with 2 gunshots to the head. What a committed fellow. In America there was a deliberate attempt to make talking about one's income a societal taboo to limit your ability to benchmark your personal salary and make the wage givers have far greater bargaining power. When I worked at Publix, the managers straight out told us it was illegal to discuss salaries with your coworkers. Not against company policy, illegal. Which is a load of bullshit. I guess they thought we were idiots and didn't know any better. So, a while back, I heard a fairly believable one, that the 10-year challenge that swept across social media a few years back was a ploy by big tech companies like Google to collect reference data for advanced facial recognition technologies. Same vein, in fact I don't think it's a theory. Those captures where you have to read distorted letters was gathering data to develop orc algorithms. Same goes for those tiles where you have to click on a boat or traffic light or whatever. That government officials were tampering with death certificates to make COVID deaths go down. My dad died because of COVID. We constantly got reports from the doctors at how amazed they were that everything was fine besides his lungs. They were so good that they would have taken all eligible organs, besides lungs, for donation had it not been for COVID. Then when we get his death certificate, which came a few months late, COVID was nowhere to be found, and it stated that he died of a random heart attack at a random time and random place. He died because we had to take him off life support. We were all around him in the hospital when he passed and there sure as hell wasn't a heart attack. Then I turned on the TV one day and it happened to be tuned to the news, and the first thing I see is that a government official from our state is under investigation for allegedly tampering with death certificates. You bet your ass we started proceeding to contest it after that. Edit, since a lot of people are asking questions. This all happened in Ohio, right before they were about to announce compensation for families who had a relative die from COVID. There was never any mention of anything wrong with his lungs anywhere on the death certificate. It was heart issues as the main and blood clots as the secondary. When we got my grandma's who also died from it a few months before, respiratory issues were listed as the main, and COVID as a secondary, so we knew what it was supposed to look like. When we contacted the doctor who filled it out and was the one treating him, he seemed surprised, and when we told him what it said he agreed that it was bullshit and he didn't fill it out like that. Interesting. Cause for most of the pandemic I've only been hearing stories about how the death rates are overblown and that they write COVID as the cause for any death of a COVID-infected patient in a hospital. I'm not American though, so maybe that's why. About 4 years or so ago NBC announced that SNL would be doing sponsored skits. Now SNL always featured products, but not because they were getting paid but because it was part of the joke. Then after that NBC announcement we got some really weird skits. The world's most evil invention, which is just absolutely insane. Then the one you can't find on YouTube because SNL pulled it, but it's the safe light repair sketch which can be found on other spots. I think there is one more I can't remember. If you watch those sketches they get really dark. I'm thinking Lorne agreed to the sponsored sketches, but the writers purposely made them dark to scare away sponsored content. That isn't to say SNL hasn't made some great sketches including certain products. They did one several years ago about a certain type of paint product, and when asked about it the cast and crew said they just really liked the product. And then the more recent Zillow sketch. Greater than the world's most evil invention. God, this explains so much about that skit. It's fucking hilarious, but the random ass sponsorship of White Castle makes a lot more sense when you have writers going, yeah we'll do it, but we sure as shit ain't gonna be happy about it. The Flat Earth conspiracy theory was created to discredit all the conspiracy theories because it wanted to prove that people would believe everything, so should never be listened to. The idea was, you guys really listen to conspiracy theorists who claim Epstein didn't kill himself? Come on, some of those believe the Earth is flat, forget them. Anyway, people actually started believing in Flat Earth and now do reunions. I'm not going psyops by the CIA level, but isn't it kind of an open secret that part of the reason for Flat Earth's explosion in popularity due to basically internet memeing that got taken too seriously? Bill Clinton wasn't cheating on Hillary with Lewinsky. Rather, the Clintons are in an open marriage, but they decided it was less scandalous to have a cheating president than one in an open marriage. The meta-misinformation conspiracy theory that claims that a certain amount of conspiracy theories were created by those who are targets of conspiracy theories, big government, etc. This was done so that conspiracy theorists are generalized as crazy paranoid people and no conspiracy theory is taken seriously, especially the ones who have at least some truth to it. Vladimir Putin is one of the richest people in the world. You won't find him on any rich lists, however. Or the Rothschilds. They are said to be in the trillions, but the little media coverage they do have claim only the billions. Their combined net worth is said to make the Rockefellers and Vanderbilts look poor. That most conspiracy theories are an expression of our wish that some group is actually in charge, when in reality the world is rudderless. Definitely true. I used to be a conspiracy theorist. My recovery was realizing that we want humankind to be the center of the universe, we want good and evil to have obvious representatives, and we see patterns everywhere. People believe in conspiracy theories because they don't know how anything works. The Bisley Boy. It's a theory actually studied by Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, that suggested Queen Elizabeth I died during the plague in England, at the age of 10, and was replaced with one of her playmates who was a boy so the servants wouldn't face the wrath of King Henry VIII. It's Bram Stoker did a lot of research around the subject and it's definitely an interesting read. I mean, there's some pretty gross misogyny underlying this one, that no woman could possibly be as effective, long-reigning, etc., as Elizabeth I, and that no real woman would refuse to get married, when in fact there were good political reasons for this. NASA stopped exploring the ocean and started exploring space because they found some terrifying shit in the ocean. Actually, they never stopped. Going to space is just the smokescreen to hide budget for the ocean research activity. There is only one Olsen twin. It's just the one moving back and forth really quickly. They have likely done enough cocaine for this to be plausible. None. Politicians and people on TV never lie. You'd have to be crazy to think they would. The internet doesn't lie either. Everything you read on here is completely truthful. The AirPods meme was an inside job by Apple. Fact. Viral marketing is a thing. A friend of mine is convinced that the social media apps have a hidden program will make your phone vibrate even if there are no new notifications, just so you'll be more likely to check your phone. As an old-school phone user who has their phone set to make noise rather than vibrate, and yet still occasionally feels a phantom vibrating phone, I think it has more to do with the psychology of phone ownership rather than an actual technical thing. A Secret Service agent in JFK's motorcade turned to see where Oswald's first shot came from, and accidentally shot Kennedy in the head. It was covered up to stop the Secret Service from looking dumb. The truth is that his head just did that. Darth Jar Jar. Well, kinda for anyone unaware, this is a fan theory that Jar Jar Binks was secretly a Sith Lord the entire time. Canonically, He most certainly is not a Sith Lord unless you think he dinked around the galaxy as a jester for 50 years while his BFF Palpatine conquered the galaxy, twice. I think he was intended to be a Sith Lord but Lucas changed it after the fan backlash. I find the idea fascinating because of implications if this was true. I believe 100% that it was the original intent, and George Lucas got scared when people didn't like the character. IIRC, when the theory first came prominent years ago, the actor who played him posted a cryptic tweet that said something along the lines of, "It's nice to finally get recognition for the work you did," and many people, myself included, take it to mean that Darth Jar Jar was the original plan. The crack cocaine epidemic of the 90s was engineered to weaken the resolve of inner-city black folk. Similarly, the opioid epidemic was designed to whittle down populations of the Rust Belt. The crack part has been proven. Also, Nixon talked about getting the blacks hooked on heroin. All politicians are rich because they take bribes, along with family members who sell access and influence. That's not even a theory, that's just a fact. That people on this sub respond to questions about conspiracies with conspiracies, that are actually proven fact to hide actual conspiracies JK, but it actually annoys me how many conspiracies posted on here are known phenomena. I know what you mean. I just saw a comment where someone was talking about politicians always being rich because they take bribes, sell access etc. I'm sat there thinking, yeah, it's called lobbying, lol. It's literally stated on official senatorial reports when a politician gets lobbied in the US. I'm torn between mattress chain stores are fronts for money laundering, or Chuck E. Cheese reuses uneaten pizza and makes new pies out of remnants of uneaten ones. Recently bought a new mattress. Realized there is a mattress store right across the road from me. Then realized that same franchise has stores like every 2 miles in all cardinal directions. I live in the suburbs, so not too densely populated. Who the heck is buying all these mattresses? The world's a triangle, courtesy of the Owl House. The most believable. Probably the one that suggests that the alien spaceship reports are just humans from the future. This makes sense to me, as they never attack, don't try to engage, and there's a rule of time travel that says to try not to engage with the past. Call me crazy, but I think it makes sense. So a conspiracy theory that relies on another slightly more likely but nonetheless highly improbable conspiracy theory. Child actors are given puberty blockers to prolong their career, image as a child actor. Given all the shit that comes out about the entertainment industry, plus all the child actors whose lives completely fall apart after their expiration date, makes this very likely. The CIA helped cartels funnel crack and other hard drugs into black neighborhoods in the 80s and 90s. It's just so frickin' sketchy to me that the CIA would be so present in fucking up South America and fucking up black people at the same time in history and then just throw their hands in the air and say, nope, we didn't do that. That Princess Diana's death was planned. Also, John Mulaney was awfully quick on the alibi. His mother was right to be suspicious. One of my mother's cousins, David Davidson, was a neuroscientist in the JFK assassination. He said due to the bullet trajectory there had to be 2 shooters. The hardest part of that to believe is that some asshole would name their child David twice. Fidel Castro is Justin Trudeau's actual father. Fun older similar one. Barbara Bush's biological father was Aleister Crowley. Women's pockets are small so the fashion industry can force women to buy purses.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.